Alright, so for some context for this video, I'm sure many of you have seen Breaking Bad, right? So there is a new show on Netflix that is to precede. Is it precede? Anyway, it was supposed to go before Breaking Bad, right? So it's called Better Call Saul. So in this show, Saul Goodman, or Jimmy, he has a brother, all right? And his brother suffers from a mental illness that makes him think that electricity, current flowing around him, it just it basically gives him a stroke. He's allergic to electricity. And throughout the show, I mean, I'm sure you would expect it. It's proven that it's not a real illness. It's not a real allergy. It's all mental, right? But in the show, the guy says, Chuck, he says, it's as real as that chair. It's as real as you and me. It's as real as everything. To him, it is serious. It's legit, which I know is really hard for a lot of people to believe, because you're like, oh, that's not real to me. So what the fuck is this guy's problem? You know what I mean? But that is literally, it's the hardest thing to explain to somebody. So imagine you for real saw a ghost, and you already know it's gonna sound crazy as fuck, and you can't tell anybody and really feel like they're gonna believe you. You know what I mean? You saw a ghost. You saw a ghost. It's fucking the weirdest thing ever. How could you not have seen a ghost? And you're trying to tell people, and some people make it sound like they believe you, but at the back of your mind, you're always wondering, do they actually believe me? Because I know it sounds bizarre. It's super rare. And that's pretty much how Chuck is feeling. He's like, it's such a rare condition. There's no way. And he's gone to the hospital. He's been tested, and he's fine. Everything's fine. But he's going through to get his brain scanned, and he fucking just comatose. Man, dude, I am having trouble with my words. Well, I wanted to talk about that. So, while I was imprisoned with my parents, context, you can see the rest of my channel, in those 4 years of solitary confinement, I had some weird things happen to my brain that just are so hard to explain to somebody, all right? So at a certain point, I started hearing a voice, all right? It was one voice, but it could change into any sound, voice, anything it wanted to. And I say it because I had absolutely no communication with it. I had no control over it. It was just its own entity. And at first, I just thought it was somebody talking, I actually think it was originally my parents' voice. And so I just thought I was able to hear them through the wall. I legit just thought they're on the other side of the wall. That's how real that was. And then I started getting annoyed by it, because it'd be 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd still just be hearing the voices non-stop talking. I'm like, there's no way they're still talking. The fuck? And I see all the lights are off because I can see under the door. I'm like, man, there's no way. So I walk up to the door and I listen. Dead silence. And I'm like, that's super fucking weird. There's no way they knew I was here. I'm so quiet. And I go back and it's just talking again. I'm like, man, what the fuck? And it would go on for months, and just the voices. And then I started just getting pissed off. I'm like, there's no fucking way. And then it started moving. All right. It's so real. It's so hard to explain. It would come from the door originally to make me think that it was my parents talking. And then it would come from when I went towards the door to try to prove to myself that it wasn't coming from there. It fucking moved to the, do I have a vent here? Yeah. It would move to a vent. And when I went over to the vent, I would look right up at it. Then it would go to the closet door. Dude, it was fucking bizarre. It was so real. I thought that they had recorded themselves on repeat and then put um, uh, speakers, like, and at first that was super plausible because there was a speaker in my room, um, and it was hooked up. I noticed later on after a couple years that it was hooked up. I could see the wire go into the wall, down into the floorboard, and it was, I don't know where it went. It was just hidden from there. And so I was just really just thought that they had a speaker in several places in my room, and maybe it had a microphone attached too. I don't know. And it took me so long to register that it wasn't a speaker. And I know that because I would jam my fingers in my ear so hard. And there's this sweet spot where if you plug it hard enough, you only hear like the blood flowing in your ears or in your fingertips or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it would just flow. But there's another sweet part where if you just loose enough, you could hear it as clear as day, as if you didn't have your hands plugged in. And that just proved to me that I'm still hearing shit. All right, I could snap my fingers. Well, I guess I can't do that and plug both ears, but I could clap my feet. Like, it sounded like I was clapping cheeks, but um, I could do that and plug my ears to verify that, hey, I blocked my ears. There's no way I'm hearing anything. And I would still hear the voices as clear as day, as literally as real as you're hearing me right now, as real as you were watching me. That's how real it was. And it's just crazy that, like, you don't think you're going crazy, you know? You wouldn't admit to it. It's real to you. Like, it's fucking real. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Other than that, pretty much. But, so yeah, just because something's real for somebody else, it doesn't mean that it's not real. You may have to understand it. You may have to trust them a little bit to figure out what the problem is. Yeah, it's a mental illness. When I first got out of the room and I was trying to explain this to somebody, which, by the way, it almost immediately went away after I had left the room. It followed me, and I say follow like it was an entity. It was in my head while I was on the bus ride from Georgia to California in the form of music. So I had just thought the radio was playing the same song over and over 24/7. Like, it was super fucking annoying. And I didn't realize that it was not music. It was still in my head until I was pretty much in California at that point, and I hated it. When I got to Los Angeles, I could still hear voices, but it was my mom, and then she was basically mocking me, telling me that I'm a piece of shit and I deserve to be homeless, you know. But yeah, so pretty much after that, after the police got to me, it went away. So, like, there's obviously, it's possible for your brain to get through things. It's possible. And I didn't have to go through shock therapy to figure that out or anything like that, but everybody's different. But I just wanted to express that it sounds crazy and you would call that person crazy, but it's not fair to them to be like, you're just a crazy person, because to them, that's real as fuck. I gotta sneeze really bad. Allergies are horrible lately. Man, that was just such a crazy experience. It scares me sometimes to think, what if it comes back or something like that, Interesting, though, as I was going through that, the voices were able to, like, pick up on things that I wouldn't have known. Like, it would know exactly when my food was about to come. I had no idea what that was about. It would know exactly when, it actually knew when the PS4 had launched. And I was like, PS4. Yeah, right. I'm back in the PS2 era, right? um, I don't know. It was weird. After the voices had left, uh, every now and then I would just randomly blurt out things that ended up coming true. He would have to like, uh, you're not gonna believe me, but like, you would have to talk to my friends and stuff that have been around me a while. They would know exactly what I'm talking about. I predict shit right before they happen, and it's fucking absurd. And I've always wondered, hey, is that voice still there? But it's back in its cage per se, back where it's supposed to be, where I can't interfere with it. It's not interfering with me, but it's so subconscious that I don't even know that I'm registering it. Like we always say, like we only know use a certain portion of our brain, but I can't help but think, that there's a lot of more things happening in our heads than we will ever fucking understand. Um, just look how insane, how much mental illness is going on right now, and we don't know why. We don't know how to fix it. But yeah, it's fucking weird, dude. For something to be so real, yet it's nobody else is experiencing it. Yeah, that was it was a pretty decent show. So I just thought I would share that.